this is the cutting portion of the RW100. More or less first impression overview, part 2. So this is as big as my thumb, so about close to an inch. I use the method to cut it to where you just push straight in while bending, and it just went right through. As you can see, I'll do the same thing with this tiny one, this method. There's that little piece hanging on. Same thing over here, get rid of all these things. That one there is a little dead, because technically you should go from the bottom. I am not a professional YouTuber, never claimed to be, don't intend on being. What I'm cutting here is cottonwood that I just got out of my trees back over here. So it's green, but I gotta say, this thing is awfully sharp. I'm barely even trying to cut here. Really good grip in the hand. No issues there. Slimy. Very nice grind geometry, lending itself very well for the wood, as well as it being such a tall, thin grind. It's going to handle all of your kitchen tasks, as well as for people like me that are going to use it for hunting as well. So toothy edge lends itself well for most things. Me personally, on my knives, when I'm sharpening them, I don't typically go over 600. I do on my carving knives, but those are my little whittlers, not, you know, harder use tools that get used for multiple things. So I might go to 800 to 1000 on my carving tools, and then strop or buff them on a powered wheel buffer using typically hard felt, rock hard felt, and white gold. Sometimes I'll use some green compound. It just depends on which wheel I'm at. I gotta say, I have no qualms. This tip here is plenty narrow enough to do intricate tasks, and it's not so long to where it's going to be unwieldy. The balance point is right at this finger guard. If I can get, I'm a little shaky this morning. There we go. Right at the first pin. So the weight is in hand. It's very well balanced. It's not too far back to where it's feeling like it's always going to want to pull out of your hand through the rear. Heavy handled knives sometimes are like that. And then it's not like a chopper to where it's really blade heavy. So it kind of gives you the ability to, if you want blade heavy, scoot back and use your lanyard hole with the lanyard on your pinky, and you have that nice small little nook here to where you could do that loose thumb and finger flick hit and do some light chopping. But also when you move up right to the front where you would want to do your high leverage tasks, it puts you right at the cutting edge. There is a very tiny sharpening choil, which is good. I will probably make mine deeper the next time I go to sharpen this. I like to have a close to about 3/8 of an inch of a sharpening choil, one that's really easily used when you're sharpening on flat stones. This is perfectly flat here, and then has your upsweep at the Tonto area. It's a nice drop point. No recurve at all. If you wanted a recurve, it'd be very easy to add that. Just don't sharpen with flat tools, flat stones. Sharpen with rods if that's what you want, is to end up with a recurve. It'll happen naturally if you do that and don't put in a choil. So you could easily get by with any kind of sharpening stones, given that it's 1095. I'm a fan of Arkansas stones, so I typically use those, but when I'm out, I will take diamond because they don't require any oil and they're really clean. I use typically one of these little Dole boys. You can just slide into the pocket, and it has a strop, and then you can flip it over for your 600 grit diamond right there. So something like this or a DC4 is going to be all that you need on a knife like either one of these case knives. The RW Caper is completely swept, so much like most wood knives are, they have a continuous taper. Makes it easy to sharpen on literally anything, and fares really well with carving tasks and slicing tasks because it will automatically provide that slice even if you're just going mostly straight. So a lot of people don't really understand that knives are meant to be sliced. They do a lot of straight pushing, and it's going to work so much better if they provide a little slice while they're making their cuts. And that's just the wood carver in me. I've been carving for 8 years now as of this video in 2025, and it makes a difference. Now, the tip on both of these tools here, the RW100 and the RW Caper, are fine, but not delicate. The way the geometry is, they're fairly stout. Now, I've seen videos of people just stupidly abusing and I have no idea why you'd ever need to do that in real life, so we won't be doing that. But for any type of quick chip carving task where you need to knock out some chips, you're not going to damage these, and it will be delicate enough to cape and also slice in and around your ribs and bones and reach up into the esophagus. Whether you cut the sternum open or not, you'll be able to reach in there with this sucker. So I just got this yesterday, and I have cut with it not too much really, all things considered, but I can tell you I am very excited here in a couple months to go deer hunting, because I'm going to put this thing to the test, and I have no doubt it will serve me well for years to come. It is the right shape, it is the right height, it's not too tall, and it's got enough of a point with really good grip. The way they've done these micarta scales, being routed in like a stepped pyramid, it adds so much traction without being overly aggressive. And if you wanted to smooth it out, I'm a farmer, I've got man hands calloused up, but I could tell if somebody had an issue, because these are really squared over, you could easily just quickly sand the edges, and this thing would be much, much smoother for someone who wasn't thick-skinned and calloused up. But for me, this is great. And just in case you haven't seen the first unboxing video, I have a 2XL hand, and from side to side is 4¼ inches, and I have plenty of real estate. So no matter how big your hand is, you're going to be okay here. It is probably about an inch from here to here at its widest, and I would say it's a little over half, maybe 5/8 width. So I do like a bigger handle, but for what this knife is going to be used for, and realistically what the designer meant it for, you're going to have no problems. And not everybody has hands as big as mine. So if I can handle this, you're going to be fine. Now, I make my own tools, even though I enjoy other people's designs as well. And this is something I was really excited to see, because my own personal preference in a knife is something a lot like that. This is a knife that I made a long time ago, and it's got a lanyard out the very back. It's got orange G10 scales with blue liners. I wanted to be able to find it. It's got a long, narrow blade. It's got a big, wide handle. Fits my hand, obviously, since I made it for me. And there's my logo right there. And it's made out of 3V. And I had that professionally heat treated because I don't have the equipment to do it properly. I do 01, 1095, you know, your typical high carbon steels. But putting the two side by side, you can see that my brainchild and their brainchild, very, very similar. I've got a little bit more of a point, fine point. It's not fine this way, but carving wise, for getting around eyeballs and cheeks and doing your carving tasks, anything in the woods, this thing will get into nice tight spots, and it's just a joy to work with. So I went with a full convex on this one, and as you can see, it's been used quite a bit. I don't bother making it pretty, no reason to. It's a tool. But seeing this one, I had to give it a go and add it to my arsenal. And I gotta say, it so closely resembles my own that if I'd had this one prior, I wouldn't have made that one. There would have been no real point other than the steel. I do love 3V. It's easy to sharpen, but super tough, and it comes to a good crisp edge. The grain is really refined, so it'll take a very acute edge and hold it for quite a while. So even though your 1095s are really easy to sharpen, they come to a good edge and hold it for a fair amount, long enough. It'll hold it long enough. Anybody that can't sharpen needs to learn. That's something every man should know how to do. I know a lot of people don't grow up in out of the city. They don't live in the country where things like that are necessary for most of your daily lives year round. So it's not something people learn, and I really hate that for society, but that's a whole nother topic. I like the knife. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition. It's going to be superb for hunting, and it will clearly cut wood. That's not an issue. I don't mind the sheath at all. I think it's going to be perfectly fine for the job. It's low rise enough to stay out of your way when you're bending over and crawling around in the woods, getting to the deer stand and doing some prior tracking and spotting game. But it's quiet, it's tight, it isn't gonna fall out. Plenty deep, but not too deep to where you can't grab at it. It's one thing I've noticed. Some knives these days, they go so deep that you can't get to them. There is a limit to usability, and some of them are going past that limit and making it unusable. Not every knife needs a lanyard, and if you have to have a lanyard to retrieve the knife, you're not doing yourself any favors. So that's something to consider when designing a sheath, especially if you're going aftermarket or making your own. But this and this, if you wanted to pair these two, you got everything you need. I think Mr. Roland Welker definitely knows what a knife is for and knows a good design for the tasks that actually are used. So I commend him on his work, and I'm going to put these to good use in the future. I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I did. Now I'm satisfied that there will be a video for somebody to watch on these knives, because I wanted to see videos before I purchased and it just wasn't an option. So I felt compelled to do it. Being a non-YouTuber, whatever they call themselves, media people or whatever, I am sure this video will be very unrefined. It will be unedited. It's taken on my phone, so take it for what it is. I know that the world needed some visibility on this tool, so I gave it to them in the way that costed me no money. I'm doing this on my cell phone for y'all. Be good. Get out in the woods. And if you do something stupid, don't get caught. Be smart.